Hi, I'm Anne.
And I'm Paul, and welcome to Out of Place, where we speak about the ones who are challenging the status quo, leading from curiosity, and doing things a little bit differently, and above all, have felt out of place somewhere along the journey.
We've got real stories, honest lessons, some laughs, and maybe some tears along the way about business and life from people who've been there, done that, or those who are just getting started.
You're exactly where you need to be. Let's jump into it.
We'll start off with, I guess, the framing of the topic of starting something. I feel a lot of the times people often talk themselves out of starting something. And I guess in our situation, we were kind of fortunate and unfortunate at the same time that something forced us to make a change. Something forced us to try something different. But it's not a new concept to either of us because we are used to changing things up, moving along with the pivot, following what we feel is right in what we do. But starting over isn't always easy.
It's not. We're in the right place for it, because the right place we've built is right here. And that reminds me of why we started Out of Place. Because we know what it feels like to be out of place.
Mm-hmm.
Both very different versions of what out of place is. And we know what it's like to have our own perception of feeling like we don't fit in, even if we do fit in, to feel like we don't fit in. So we thought, well, sorry, I don't want to steal your thunder here, because you thought and you were inspired with the podcast Out of Place.
Yeah, I remember you talking about the ability to express and the joy that you had in writing. And I thought, well, I have always loved storytelling. That's been kind of my safe space of writing in my journal or writing a story, never actually sharing it with anybody, but just writing. Um, and then I thought, well, hold on a sec. What if? What if, crazy idea here, what if we just recorded a podcast? A podcast about feeling out of place, about people who are trying to challenge the status quo, who are doing things differently. I was like, we're really at the core of what we're trying to do is connecting people.
In a really important time where we're going to realize just how pivotal human connection is. We don't ever want to lose human connection. And there's a lot out there, a lot of amazing tools, but they do encroach on that ability to connect as humans. And building something that can not necessarily challenge that, but can integrate with it, as well as building something that is built from a position of being out of place. Because if you feel out of place, you're like, where's the rest of the people who build out of place? Well, we were like, screw it. Why don't we try and build that? Why don't we try and build that community? If we can't find our place, we'll build it.
Yeah, because you said when you were heading off to Bali that your kind of anticipation for that trip was to find community. And as you were progressing through your journey there, you were like, well, I don't know if I'm quite finding the people. And I remember saying to you, well, maybe that's not the point. It's not the point of finding people, it's actually creating a space and a place for people to come and find you and or creating a platform for people to feel comfortable to be part of your community. And so that started to bubble up in my head. I do love talking to people and I love creating stories. And so then the play on words came out. I was like, oh, out of place, place, out of place. Oh, this is all making sense. So then we hop on a call, as we do. We would call each other every night and would mess each other during the day. And we get on the call and I am buzzing. I am so excited about this idea that I've come up with. And I was like, Paul, we're starting a podcast. I don't ask you, I don't ask for your acceptance or consent to be part of this. I just say to you, we're starting a podcast. How did you feel in that moment? What did you think?
Look, I felt excited because the way in which we defined what it would be, and I was like, I don't have to feel out of place anymore. Amazing. No, but seriously, I was excited. I was also nervous because bringing yourself into an environment like this, being on cameras, being on a microphone, like it can bring a bit of nervousness to it. And also, like, you've got to be very clear on where you're going with something. So I was thinking all these things, but at the same time, I was thinking, hey, Anne, trying to write a book, trying to build this company as a, founder and CEO, and you're putting somebody else into the mix. Oh, good job. Honestly, I did think, I was like, it's good job. I've spent 5 years learning how to regulate my system and build out my capacity to deal with overwhelm. And end of the day, it was exciting.
I wanted us to create a way of creating content that would connect people to us. And so then when I started to think about who could we have on the podcast, I wasn't thinking I want to see the chronological CV success of somebody. I don't want to share that. I don't want that to be the story that we center on when we bring people on here.
We've all got that, right? We can all relate on those things, the CV, the schooling, the jobs. Can we relate on other things? Can we relate on the things we felt out of place with?
Yeah. And so as I've been, building that list of people, I was like, oh, there's a story over here that I really love about this really successful person that I know who feels imposter syndrome after all their successes. That's a great story because everyone feels that at some stage. Or this other person who was able to bring their authentic self, and I really admire that person. Like, that's a story I want to share.
So, yeah, I think like just looking back over with your question, how did I feel about when you mentioned the podcast? Excited, nervous, all of the things. And I guess just really happy that we followed through on it. And, thinking, because I remember that moment where you were like, okay, place, out of place. And then I was like, I've got a different idea for the next venture, which is still very early in the making, but it's inspiring and it's beautiful that we're both inspired to be doing what we're doing right now.
Yeah. And also the fact that we're giving ourselves the permission to be creative,
Mm-hmm.
to explore these ideas that bubble up and not letting them just drift off as you would normally. I think sometimes we have these ideas and we go, oh, it's too big, it's too out there, it's too much. I can't do it. I don't have the skills, I don't have the capacity. But in this case, we just said, look, it seems like it's a good idea. It's something that we both feel excited by. Let's just give it a go.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of people who say, just get started and all that type of stuff, which I believe in, but it also depends on the industry you're working in. Part of what I do is in the holistic wellness space, and I don't believe people should just get started because sometimes you got to tend to yourself first. You want to work with people, you got to ensure you're in a position where you can be nuanced and hold their capacity without projecting your own story, your own things onto them. So yes, you can just get started, but at the same time, there is ethics and there is integrity and there is awareness that needs to come into this.
Oh, that deserves its own episode, Paul.
Oh, there we go. Just created a new episode for us. But yeah, amazing. Thank you so much for listening to Out of Place. If something in today's episode resonated with you, let us know or share it with someone who you think might need it.
Or leave us a review. It helps more than you know. We're so grateful that you're here building this with us. And you can find us on Instagram at Out of Plaece, ELAECE.
Here's to finding your way, even when it feels a little bit out of place. We'll see you on the next